Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Authentic Info Podcast. I'm your host, Master Lechawuk. Recently, we saw President Mbeki in one of his speech saying that he's confused on who to vote for in 2024 because the ANC is led, by a criminal, and he's not convinced to vote for them. So, what does this mean? What is he trying to say? Because we know President Mbeki as someone who tried to hold to account the ANC leaders. We saw him under the two terms of President Zuma, trying to expose and trying to give us his position when it comes to all the scandals against President Zuma. He is someone who is not scared to take to the podium and give his position. And recently we saw him labeling the current ANC president, Ramaphosa, as a criminal, saying that there's no way that he can vote for the ANC in 2024. So what does this mean? Is this a decampaign? Is this some sort of trying to expose Ramaphosa for who he is, or is trying to play political games to try and challenge the president to be transparent and be someone who is accountable for his wrongdoings and those of the party? Because before Ramaphosa became president, everyone was happy, saying that at least we're going to be led by someone who has his own money, who doesn't care about the money of the state, someone who will serve the country and try to fix South Africa for the better. But it became different. We saw a different story. We saw a different administration, and has not been transparent. He's a man who doesn't keep his word. In 2014, there was the killings in Marikana, and we never saw the president trying to talk to the widows or give his position as to what really transpired and things like that, because he was accused by these political parties, opposing parties, to be someone who instructed Ria Pierre to tell the police to take concomitant action against the unarmed miners in Marikana who were trying to ask for a stable salary of at least 12,500. 34 miners were killed. Nothing happened. And in 2017, the CR17 campaign was popular, and there are accusations that it was funded 1 billion by these rich guys in South Africa. And he went to seal the bank statements to try and conceal or prevent the state from knowing who really funded him in 2017, who really funded the CR17 campaign. So it's not been transparent. Recently, we saw the Palapala farm gate matter, where money was discovered under the mattress, under the couches and things like that, where people were brutalized, and this was done in an intelligence manner. No case was reported until Arthur Fraser exposed what really transpired, that the people stole money at the president's farm, and no case was opened. He used some state resources to look for, to trace and look for these guys, torture them, recover some of the money, and nothing happened. No case was opened. And recently we learned that that money came from some guy who bought buffaloes, never collected them. Some stories. We saw independent institutions like SARS, Public Protector's Office, the South African Reserve Bank coming in to protect the president. And the South African Reserve Bank made things worse because under Lesedi Kganyago, who the EFF accuses of gunning for Minister of Finance position, that's why he protected the president. The South African Reserve Bank report was not made public to the people, and it was kept confidential and private. So what type of report is that? That comes from an independent institution. So it seems like this is state capture 2.0. It seems like this is state capture 2.0, and our President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, is not someone who's ready to account account for his wrongdoings and his type of administration. He has been accused of capturing the judiciary, where some information of at least 150 judges were in his payroll or things like that. By these accusations are made or were made by opposition parties trying to expose the president for who he is, trying to expose the president for his wrongdoings. And he has appeared to be someone who is not transparent. He doesn't answer questions that relate to his scandals. And most of these media houses do not answer relevant questions when they are with him. I think they are also intimidated, and they don't have the freedom to ask questions that will seek answers that will satisfy the public as to what type of president do they have. I mean, as black people, as the people of South Africa, black and white, rich and poor, were expected to account for our wrongdoings, and were expected to give this our side of the story whenever there are accusations. So under President Zuma, we saw Zuma being taken to court to account for various scandals and charges leveled against him, or charges against him. And he was always there. He has been transparent, and he has been through all sorts of brutality by opposition parties, especially the DA, and all other institutions, which by then were looking to be like acting independent. All those institutions currently are quiet. Mkwebane tried to take the president, to make the president account for wrongdoings. She was suspended, delayed, until now that they are interviewing another or a potential public protector, who I think they're going to give it to Kalek, who's, in my opinion, not fit to be our next public protector. So there has been no accountability under the leadership and administration of President Ramaphosa. There has been no transparency, and these media houses do not cover stories the way they used to do with Zuma. And that doesn't mean that the president that we have currently is clean. It doesn't mean that he's not corrupt. We know the scandals of the 500 billion loan, which was supposed to service South Africa under lockdown. We don't know what happened to that money. It's only a person like Zweli Mkhize, who was accused of stealing 100 and something million, and he was suspended, and then he was axed just like that. So President Ramaphosa has a way of dealing with his political opponents, has a way of dealing with the other faction, and they are scared of him. They are scared of him. No one is willing to hold him to account. And President Mbeki alone can't do anything. President Mbeki alone is like a drop in an ocean. He contributes focal, nothing. He can try, but even the media won't cover that or give it as much attention as they did with the Zuma scandals. State capture was everywhere. Kandla was everywhere every day. And then we developed some sort of hate and dislike towards Zuma. But with President Ramaphosa, I'm not saying that the media must make us to hate him, or the media must make us to dislike him. But he must be exposed for who he is, so that we understand the type of president that we have. Because our life depends on his leadership. Whatever they do, it affects us. We need to be led by a person who is accountable, who is transparent, and who is available for the people. So President Mbeki labels Ramaphosa as a criminal. Why does he say that? It's because he is not transparent. He has not stated his case, and he has been accused of all these heinous crimes. So now that he's not transparent, he's not accountable, it is a criminal. He is a criminal according to former President Mbeki. So, and he's also saying that he's confused on who to vote for. So I don't know whether he's challenging President Ramaphosa to come and account for whatever wrongdoings that are labeled against his name, or that cloud that he has over his name. I don't know. But this is some eye-opening statement by former President Mbeki, because Bo Andrew Mlangen used to lead or work where they hold to account the deployees or delegates of the ANC. But now we don't see that in the ANC. We see people like Fikile Mbalula speaking very negative about the likes of Ace Magashule because they belong to another faction and they are now outside the ANC. But by the time Bo Ace were still in the ANC, Bo Mbalula were not speaking bad about them until now that they are out. So the ANC, the way it has turned to be now, it has been turned into an institution or organization where if you can make it to national or provincial level, you are well off. You are going to eat, you are going to push tenders to your cousins, you're going to push tenders to friends and make as much money as you can, and forsaking the benefits of the people or services to the people. That's how it has been turned into be. Everyone who gets an opportunity, even locally, even on the ground, even in rural areas, councillors, all they want is to eat. All they want is to grab any opportunity that comes, make as much money as they can, and make sure that after their term finishes, they have something. So that's how the ANC has turned into be. And I don't think it is taking South Africa anywhere. The way they are doing things, the way or the culture which has been developed in the ANC, the culture of criminality, the culture of intimidation, the culture of creating entrepreneurs, the culture of stealing money. I think it has killed the ANC, and it has exposed it for what it is. And the people who genuinely love this political party have given up on it, and they decided to expose it, and they decided to distract it. Madiba told us in one of his speech that if the ANC do to us what the apartheid government did, we should do to the ANC what we did to the apartheid government, which means if the ANC becomes reckless and forsake its people or the people of South Africa, we have to vote it out. So black people must gather and vote for another political party that is there, and make sure that the ANC doesn't come back to test leadership or government anymore. So I think now we've arrived at that type of situation where the ANC is no longer serving the interests of the people, where after 30 years of democracy, they are still blaming the apartheid. They are still blaming the apartheid. I mean, people who were there in 1963 and who are still alive today, they have lived at least for 6 decades, 30 decades of apartheid. 3 decades of apartheid and 3 decades of democracy. These are the people who will tell you, these are the people who are ahead saying that apartheid was better. These are the people who have lived 50% of apartheid and 50% of democracy, and they don't see this democracy, and they are tired. This is Authentic Info Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.